Yeah, I'll post everything like I did last time. This is Algebra 2, review 1 through 25. Part 1, I'll finish up as much as I can with the other class. May not get everything, okay? In all reality, I don't have to do this, okay? I've given you a review. I've given you something to study. So whatever I don't cover, I'm not going to stay here all night to try to finish, okay? I'm just be clear on that. All right, so question number 1. What it's going to do is it's going to ask for the percent change. So it's a percent change question. If I can write. So it's going to ask for the percent change from one number to another. Okay? So more than just like writing down an example question, I want to write down the formulas that you need to know. Okay? What is the formula for finding percent change? New minus original over original. Okay? Is that something we can do? Do I need to work out an example question? I don't think so. Okay? So we need to know this formula. Okay? Let's see. This one I might just have to kind of make something up. It's going to be solving for a variable. There's going to be a lot of distribution and stuff involved. So let's say, I'm just going to give you an example of what a question might look like. T minus 9 equals negative 8. Let's say 2t plus 12 plus 17t. Something like that. Okay, it's distribution. It's moving things back and forth across. Is this something that we need practice with? No? I'm trying to save us some time, get through it, and look as much as we can. Okay. Okay, you need to be able to solve an inequality. So something along the lines of maybe something like this. Okay. Can we solve something like that? Distribute, right? My rules here, though, things to remember, if I ever multiply or divide by a negative, what happens to the inequality sign? Flips, so be aware of that. But only in those two circumstances. Not whenever I'm not when I'm subtracting a number, not when I'm adding a number. It's only when I multiply and divide, and it has to be by a negative, okay? So again, do we need to work this out, or is simply seeing the type of problem here kind of good enough for us? I mean, if somebody wants us to work this out, we'll take the time and work it out. No? Going once, twice? Okay. Because this is something, if you guys at least have this to go on, what you guys can do, because I'm going to send this document, is you can meet up at one another's house and say, hey, let's work out those questions that he put up, right? And we can work them out together and see what we get. Okay? They're going to give you one where it's like number of line segments, something like, let's say, well, I think it's the same no matter what. Okay, so they're going to give you this formula, all right, where n represents the number of points, and the solution is how many line segments you get. So they might give you a number like, there are 9 points. How many line segments are there? So what do? Substitute what in for n? 9. So 9 squared is 81. 81 minus 9, right? Find out what that is, divided by 2, right? Okay. Substitute 9 in for n and solve. Okay? So far, to me, and this is me being around for a while, looks like a fairly easy test. So far. Let's see. This question does want your answer in scientific notation. So it'll give you something along the lines of, let's say, 9.93 times 10 to the, okay, let's say 7th divided by 8 times 10 to the, let's say, third. Okay? What I would do is I would go ahead and write it up with a division bar to kind of make it a little easier on myself. So I would probably write it like this, 9.93 times 10 to the 7th over 8 times 10 to the 3rd. Okay, is this something that you want to see worked out? Okay, so whenever I move this up, it becomes a -3, right? So I should get 10 to the 4th. Okay, so that's not a problem. But 9.93 divided by 8, what is that? 1.24125. Now, do I need to change that at all? No, it's already in scientific notation, right? Okay, but in the event that I had to move it to the left or right, okay? So left or right, okay? If I go to the left, I add to the exponent. Okay, if I go to the right, I subtract the exponent. So in the event that I have to move it, okay, that's how it works. So I do want to put this note in there for you in case you don't already have that written down somewhere. Okay? I would think that that's helpful. Let's keep going. What question was that? That was 5. All right, so we're ready for 6. What time will we get out of here? 31, so I got some time. Let's see. On this one, they're going to give you a formula. They're going to give you 2 numbers to plug in and describe what the values of that function represent. I'm not going to actually put this one up on the board. Okay? I'm not going to give you everything. Some of them, right? They're going to give you a formula, and they're going to give you 2 numbers. You have to plug in both numbers separately. So plug in the first number, solve. Okay? After you have that, plug in the second number and solve. Okay? So D should represent distance. So I'll give you, for instance, so like -0.55 x squared. Actually, no, let's make it cubed. Oh, minus 1.6x squared plus 3.4x plus 15. Something along those lines. Okay, and they want, let's evaluate for x equals 3 and x equals 7. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to plug in 3 here, solve it. I'm going to plug in 3 here, here, and here. Okay, when I've got an answer, then I'm going to plug in 7 here, here, and here, and get a different answer. Okay, is that doable? Okay. It's going to be part of a word problem. They're going to ask you what x stands for in this question. It should be pretty easy to figure out. Okay? All right, they're going to ask you what a new amount when a number is decreased by a certain percentage. So, what is the new amount? Somebody give me a 2-digit number. When 26 is decreased, somebody give me a percent. 13%. Okay, what is the new amount when 26 is decreased by 13%? What do I do first? Put it in a proportion. Okay, that's one way of going about it. Tell me about that, Blayton. What are you going to do?
13 over 100.
Okay.
Equals, then 26 is
Okay, so you got 26 times 13 times 100x. Okay. Now what? What's 13 times 26? Sure. $338. Okay, so now what do? Divide by 100. Okay. So you should get something like x equals 3.38. Is that your final answer? All right, subtract it by 26 or subtract it from 26? All right, so 26 minus 3.38. It's not exactly how I would have done it. I think you probably will end up with the same thing. What I would have done is I would have taken 26 times 0.13. I would have gotten 3.38. I would still subtract that answer from 26. So 26 minus 3.38 is what, like 22.62? Okay, so you get something like that. Okay, so there's a couple different ways to do that. That way works. All right, let's keep going. All right, you guys have seen this question. It's the campers versus counselors direct variation question. All right, do I need to throw that back up there? Yes? Okay. Let's say there should be a counselor for every, let's make up a different number, for every 8 campers. Okay? We want to find out what kind of variation it is, and we want to write an equation for it. Well, what is the dependent and independent variable here? Independent is independent is what? Campers. Campers are independent. So we would say 8k, right? So 1 equals 8k, right? So 1 counselor for every 8 campers, right? And if I want to solve for k, I divide by 8, right? I don't know if this is, seems like it's the other way around. Because I don't remember, you can't get, well, all right, hold on, let me see. Because they're going to tell you, I said, let's see, the number of campers. Okay, so they use campers, they say that campers is y. Okay, so they tell you campers is y, which would be the 8. 8 equals 1k. So divide by 1, k equals 8. So when you set it up, you'd get y equals 8x, direct variation. And they actually tell you, that campers is y and counselors is x. Your thing that you need to remember is y equals kx. You need to start with that, plug in your numbers, solve for k, then end up with this and this. Okay? This one's a little different. It's not hard, but it'll confuse a lot of people because they're not used to seeing it. Determine the product. Okay, which just means we're going to multiply of, let's see, what do they use? Okay, let's say 8, 7. What they're saying is that these are the dimensions of 2 matrices. It says determine the product, determine the dimensions. All right. What should be the dimensions of that new matrix? 8 by 4. We'd say defined 8 by 4. All right. We got through quite a bit there. I'll get the second half for it by the end of the day.